US government sanctions against Russia basically killed imports of ZenitCo rails into the USA. But as usual in situations like this, the private sector regroups and delivers solutions to the government-created problems. Today, we are going to talk about ZenitCo clones from the Barwarus USA. We'll go over the installation of the Barwarus rails and the dust cover. It is identical process, at least what I used to when I was installing ZenitCo stuff. So before we will get this, we got that. And let me put that rifle away. So Barwarus ships everything in those hard cardboard boxes, simple label for the whatever part number you ordered, and you will open and you will see they are put in those sleeves, bubble wrapper sleeves. This is the MLAG version. We're not going to talk about that one yet, but basically I just want to show you how they ship the stuff. So that's cool. I like that. ZenitCo usually was shipping the stuff only in the Ziploc bags, so that I think this is the upgrade from that point of view. Now, this is the original ZenitCo, and as you can see, this is a little bit beat up, used stuff, but those rails are basically identical to what Barwarus is offering and selling in this setup. There are some minor differences. We'll talk about it in a second, but as far as the thickness and weight and everything, this is basically the one-to-one clone from ZenitCo. As for the dust cover, again, there are some minor differences between the Barwarus and the ZenitCo, especially about this piece, which is going underneath. If you will look underneath of the rear side post into the slot. Actually, this is the slot. It will be better to see here. So this piece goes there, right here. And there are some minor differences between the ZenitCo and the Barwarus. We'll talk about it when we'll get to the point and I'll explain everything. Okay, the tools which you're going to need will be, of course, the screwdriver with the bit which fits into those screws. So you have to figure it out, the bit size. And the ZenitCo was including tools, installation tools. Barwarus is not, so you have to get that type of the bit. If I'll find the markings, maybe I'll put at the bottom so you guys can see it, but I don't remember from top of my head what's the size for it. You need the punch tool, the decent size, like there you go. This one is from Craftsman. That's a part number 42901. That's what I use. You need the basic flat screwdriver. And of course, like everything else on AK, you need hammer. You need hammer for everything on AK. Okay, now I'm going to show you using, actually, I don't want to take this rail off because I set it up nicely and everything, but I do have a basic, this is the Bulgarian parts kit 74, and that rail, just like ZenitCo and just like Barwarus, very often you're going to see that you have to do some filing in the part right here. I can flip it that way, Ula, maybe that will help. Right here and right there, and that's absolutely normal. This is the part, this part goes, let me flip it this that way, inside the receiver now. And as you can see, it has to fit right here underneath of the barrel trunnion. That fitment supposed to be extremely tight. So dimensions on this are usually slightly larger, so you can fine trim it and fine trim it to basically your needs, fine tune it to your needs, because it is easier to take the material off than add it to the part to make it fit. So when you will be if you will find yourself, because on some rifles this just goes in and it's no big deal, but if you will find yourself that you have to chip some material off, file in the baby steps. Do not take it a lot. Step by step, guys. Take your time. This is not the sprint, okay? All right, so if I will be installing this now, we will have to basically first, of course, remove the upper portion, and I just want to show you what has to happen, the steps I'm doing. And maybe you got the better method, that's fine, but if not, this is what I do, and this works like magic on ZenitCo and worked like magic on the Barwarus. One note about those screws on the ZenitCo are a little bit longer than the screws used on the Barwarus, so that's the one difference I noticed too. I don't know if that makes any difference as far as holding the equipment on the rail, because I don't have any complaints on the Barwarus side about that yet. But okay, you will remove the upper portion, and now basically what has to happen, you got the front retainer bracket. That front retainer bracket for the handguard eventually will go underneath right here in the middle of the rail. So when you, for the first time, trying it out and putting like this, what you have to do is now align that front retainer bracket and make sure it will slide over. See how it has to slide over this part and that part of the rail, but also, and I hope this is visible on the camera, this bracket has to slide in over again like this space of the rail, and it will go underneath of that. And this is exactly the same process on the Barwarus. So this could be a little bit tricky on some rifles, and again, if you will have to do some filing and make it happen. At the same moment, see what's happening? This part which I was talking about is going inside the receiver, all right? And here it looks like, yep, that one, I wiggle it in and push it in and it fits perfectly, and I didn't have to do any more changes. But as you could see at the beginning, some material was already filed away on that rail to make it fit, because I was using it on the rifle. And why you need the punch tool? Very often, if you got the problem that this is a very tight, like really tight fit, and that rail doesn't want to go in, and you are just, but you see it's moving in, but it's very hard to push it in. Some people try to use the screwdrivers and they damage the rail all over the place. Don't do that. What I'm doing is, guys, why use that long punch tool? If you have that situation when you have that just little gap and you need that extra push, if you have that bracket aligned and that fits, and here I will have to do some filing, see, because what's happening, the handguard front retainer bracket does not match, does not jelly really well. Oh, there you go, it clipped on. I'm sorry, I'm taking this back. What I'm doing, I'm taking this punch tool right here, placing it, and of course this is the awkward position because I'm trying to show you this on the video, but I'm holding the punch tool like that. And if you got the person which can help you do that, that's the best way to do it, so you don't have to do it alone, but you can do it alone. And then I tap in on the punch tool, and look, guys, look what's happening, and I'm pushing that front retainer bracket, and that front retainer bracket is pushing the rail because of you tapping it down towards inside the receiver. And you can alternate the sides. You can tap it from this side, right? You can tap it from the other side, keep changing. And here I'm not doing this for real. Sometimes you just, you know, like on AK, you have to use the bigger hammer. But what this does, this is basically a piece of steel. And you're pushing a piece of steel, and that piece of steel with the larger force, because you have the much more material here, and you're sliding this inside the receiver, and you're not damaging the rail. And this is, you cannot damage anything here by tapping on that. I mean, don't hit the ears for the front post and things like this. But there you go, guys. Check it out. See how I'm tapping this, and it's going like honey. I like bees to the honey, okay? And still, this is what I was talking about. You may have that gap, all right? On this rifle, it's actually not that bad to install it, but on some it will be a struggle, right? So you have to keep doing this. Let me tap it a few times. And again, I'm doing this on the bench because I'm showing you on the video. But in real life, I would use, there you go, look how that gap is shrinking. But in real life, I would support the buttstock of the rifle on the concrete. So you have the solid block, which is working. But there you go, see how it's nicely going into the receiver. One more time, I'm going to tap on it. And hopefully you guys are seeing this. And boom, almost perfect, right? Oh, it is perfect. And check this out. I don't know if camera will see. There is no, you know, even if you will have some punch marks here on the front retainer bracket, who cares? So that's how it's done. And the rail sits neatly inside the receiver. Let's see if we can close that. If you still see the front retainer bracket still not in a position, we still got a little bit gap. Let me close it. So I started, let me finish it. I may speed up that in the video so I don't bore you guys, but no big deal. See how this works. This is really simple process. Just takes a few taps, and this way you're not fighting, you're not destroying the rail and things like that. Push it the way, finish it how you have to finish it, so everything works here. I don't want to keep doing that because I want to keep moving with that video, but basically later on you can use either the standard gas tube. If you want to see, the standard gas tube will work with both ZenitCo and Barwarus, or of course I'm too fast for the camera. Of course, you will have to remove the wood, and then you can slide in and plug in if you got the gas tube installed, and you can put the upper part of the handguard. This literally is how you install the Barwarus USA. Works the same. Now, for the lower part of the rail and the upper part of the rail on the Barwarus, that installation took me maybe 10 minutes. It really was not the problem. Where I had issues was with the Barwarus on the dust cover, and that required me to do some machining. I'm going to show you pictures. You can see how I was scooping the material off from the sides of the rail, because this is I found out that the dimensions between the dust cover from ZenitCo and the dust cover from Barwarus were not identical. And I forwarded that feedback already to the Barwarus, so hopefully they will make some adjustments. But if you will have that one of the older rails, like not the rails, but the dust covers like I had, be aware, you know, this is what I had to do. So now ultimately when you got the rail installed, what you want to do, you basically, you got a good view, Ula? All right. You basically have to slide it in, and you see what's going, the two things are going to happen. These legs are going inside the receiver, right, like that. All right, they have to go like that. and this bracket will go into that slot underneath of the rear post. Boom, just like that. And now you got the screw slots, and you will put your screws and you will lock the receiver, not the receiver, but the dust cover with the screws to the rail, and that holds up. Now, my problem with Barwarus was I did not have enough space. Let me remove those legs now and pull this out. I did not have enough opening here between the rail and the rear side block to fit those legs in. So what I had to do, I had to scoop that material off the walls from the rail here and there in order to fit that. And it fits really tight. I mean, this is like a rock solid mount right now. So it absolutely locks in, and it holds zero. For now, for the amount of the round I push through it, this works, okay? But this is what I had to do. And again, Barwarus was informed about that, and hopefully they will make some adjustments. Also, what I have seen on the Barwarus USA dust covers issue, this part, this bracket which goes into that slot underneath of, or you know, like inside the rear side post, what I have seen on the KUSA 104s, some people had to grind this off a little bit, because what was happening, the dust cover was not aligned perfectly. Basically, what was happening on their rifles, they had the issues that like was gap, too big gap between the receiver and the dust cover. But by adjusting that part, working on that part, they were able to fit it, and it fits perfectly. And it was on a KUSA 104. So definitely, Barwarus has some homework to do on those dust covers, but these are like minor changes which have to be implemented, and it will be perfectly fine, and it should work. And as I said, maybe by the time when that video will get released, maybe that's already solved. I don't know. But other than that, that's the issues I found with the dust cover mainly. And the rail installation, it was absolutely smooth and easy, no issues. But going back to how this works here, and you can see the setup is holding up. I especially put the laser designator on it to put some weight. I'm running the bipod on it again to put some weight. And the dust cover so far is holding up great. The one thing in the back with the dust cover, you're going to have to use, they providing to you the last part of that recoil spring assembly. They're using, just like ZenitCo, their own end, so you have to change the spring. I mean, not the change, but remove the spring. If someone doesn't know how to do that, you basically grab the recoil spring with your two hands. The easiest way, flip this part by pulling down. See how I pull the spring down? You're flipping to the side. Now you can remove the holding piece. This is just like you're spreading the teeth on it, and this cap has two holes. All you gotta do is remove it. Don't lose that. I mean, you can buy it back, but why would you like to spend money? Don't lose it. So now you can pull this wire off, okay, and you can swap that part. That's how you're doing it. So you will put the ZenitCo part, not the ZenitCo, Barwarus part in. Old habits die hard. And you gotta, again, squeeze that in, spring, pull it down, use upper portion to lock it, and it doesn't matter if it's going from left to right, it really doesn't matter. You just gotta do it like that. Let me find the cap. You will spread the teeth on it, put it to the hole on the one side, snap it to the other one, and now slowly, while holding the spring, pull it out and let the spring fly, and boom, you're going to have this ready for the final installation. And that's it. And don't forget to swap that piece. That piece is holding that dust cover locked in. They're using that piece of the dust cover to lock the dust cover in. So this is very important to have that button swapped. You cannot use, I mean, you could use the regular button, but I'm suspecting then you're going to see some movement on your optic. Now, as far as the dust covers goes, I will say, guys, for basic use, the dust cover will work, but over the time, what's happening, and this is ZenitCo, right? On the Barwarus, to their credit, the hinges are holding extremely tight, but like, look what happened over the time on the ZenitCo. And I don't know, like you should be able to see in a video, but what's happening, see how this wiggles because the rivet already worked himself out. And granted that rifle had a lot of, that system had a lot of rounds and everything, but what's happening over the time, I found that they tend to do that, right? So you can, of course, to cure that, you could start shimming and putting the shims here to increase that pressure, maintain that pressure, but that's very, very vital. You want to have this hinge as tight as possible, so it shouldn't wiggle like that. That's why I basically retired that dust cover. I don't want to, play with it, but see how it wiggles, and that's what you have to keep watching on those dust covers, related dust covers. That's important thing. On the Barwarus, that system is basically brand new, right? So it doesn't have any usage, and it's like rock solid. So for now, is staying put. More rounds has to be pushed down the pipe, and we'll see. We'll do like a long-term update on it. For sure. But as far as the installation goes, that's how I'm doing it with those rails and the dust cover systems. If someone has a better method, please share it underneath of the video. I mean, I'm not saying this is the only way to do it, but after many systems, I find out that this works like a charm, and that's what I'm doing. That's why I thought I will share it with you. Overall, I have to say that I'm very pleased with the quality of the Barwarus USA rails. They look, feel and work like a good old Russian ZenitCo was. Now I'm not worrying about the rails itself. So far these truly are working great, but more long-term testing must be done on the dust covers itself, so we can have a better understanding what we are dealing here with. So I promise you will see follow-up to this video, probably after the winter time, so we can have more data from the cold weather testing on those. So yes, the winter is coming. And on that positive note, I want to thank you for watching today's video and see you soon.